Cool. It's Whereby. Welcome to Whereby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of have the feeling that I already used this tool, but maybe it had another name.
Yes, it did. It got renamed.
Was it Appear In?
Yes, it used to be a
Yes.
and they
I
rebranded.
used it many years back,
Yeah,
and I was like,
nice.
oh, this looks familiar to me.
Yeah, it actually it's funny because it was a design community thing, right? Like
Ah,
it was a
okay.
very design focused tool that a lot of designers used, and then now a lot of people use it, but they rebranded and everything, and yeah, it's cool that you know about
All
it.
right. Yeah.
Back in its OG days, its original Appear In days. It's a while back. But yeah. Um, yeah, but anyway, as you were saying, um, in order to kind of get clients onboarded onto the idea of usability testing and selling that, you said it seemed like it pretty much was a fairly gradual process, but
Yeah, pretty much.
how did you what was the first touch, like the first, okay, we want to do usability testing? Like, was it part of the original, was it part of an a research initiative that already made sense to do that, or was it
Yeah, it was part of in some cases we were redesigning some features, and then I would, as a UX designer, I would be like, ah, yeah, but then at some point in the process we should test with users to see. Like I would phrase it or frame it as a part of the process, a natural part, a natural step in the process. Maybe at the beginning with the biggest features that we were redesigning or the biggest efforts to make sure that we would maximize the value of it at the beginning. But then it became part of our process to the point that now we test pretty much everything we design.
Mhm. So where that's really interesting that it was like part of the process. We should probably test with users, because I mean that's like not all designers will say that.
Yeah, for me at least it is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like a 10% thing of designers would be like, yeah, it's we gotta test, like this makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe a lot of designers out there still come from the old days of graphic design and this kind of stuff where you wouldn't have to test anything and you would just go with your creativity
Uh-huh.
and come up with a cool solution and that's enough.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's not enough anymore,
True.
especially with product.
Right. And so you kind of it was like you kind of pitched that as part of the design process,
Yeah.
um, and then I guess they saw the value in it, and then it became a regular sprint based thing, right? Like after each kind of how often do you do it? Like how
Yeah. Now we're doing it monthly. So yeah,
uh-huh.
once a month on average, basically depending on what we're designing. There's a new feature. We have a board in Jira where we have all the backlog basically for our usability testing. So every time we are designing something, we're like, okay, then we should do some testing, and we put a new Jira story ticket for that in the board. And then sometimes we merge stuff together in the same test. If something is too small,
Yeah.
then we merge it together with other things and test in a bundle.
Uh-huh.
But basically, yeah, I would say on average once per month.
Right. And are you spearheading the research efforts? Like you're owning it essentially, right? Or
Yeah,
I'm
pretty much.
doing that, would you
But
say?
we have a weekly meeting with the team where we discuss the design system, but also the research part for this project. So whenever there's a new ticket, a new idea, we discuss it within this weekly meeting, and it's kind of a team effort to move things along. Then because we collaborate on pretty much everything. There's a Scrum Master there who
Uh-huh.
facilitates the process,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Right. Makes sense. And so um I'm curious then, what type of usability is it? Like they're moderated, right? Moderated, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
yeah. So far, we've only done that.
Right. And how's that going for you? Like how's the process of doing it once a month? Like how does it fit into kind of like your designer flow, and how,
Yeah, that's a good question because I think like when once you start doing it really regularly, then you have to also facilitate your work and automate some things. So
Mhm.
we worked on a bunch of templates, for the test script, for the test report, but also templates for the messages that we send to participants, for the messages and the emails that we send to the observers. Um, templates for the debrief at the end of the testing, templates for the planning when you're planning like participant recruitment criteria and stuff like that. So yeah, we created a whole bunch of templates to facilitate the process, and also we use Testing Time as a platform to recruit people, which is really easy to use. I don't know,
Testing
are you
time.
based in the US?
Huh. So they're a recruitment platform.
Yeah, it's a Swiss startup, so I think their pools of users are mostly in Europe. So I don't
Okay.
know, yeah, if it, you know, if it's worth it if you're based in the US. I
Mhm.
think you are, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Our
Yeah.
company
So
in the US, yeah.
but maybe there are other tools like that. So it's called Testing Time, and basically you set up the whole test kind of self-service on your own on the website,
So that's
and
unmoderated,
then
right?
sorry.
You're also doing unmoderated tests.
You can also do unmoderated, but we are
Oh,
only doing, so far we're only doing moderated.
okay.
And you just set up all the criteria to recruit people from there, um, and then the people just show up with the link that you sent.
Right.
And yeah, so basically over time we created templates, and we found ways to facilitate and to streamline the process so that it's not time consuming every month to, you know,
Mhm.
reinvent the wheel.
Mhm.
And yeah, you just have to think about the research questions, the criteria for that specific test, and then write the script. But we have a template for that. Of course, create the prototype, but we also have existing prototypes that we can tweak and add things. So yeah, basically you need to find ways to uh, yeah, have as little work as you need in order to get a test
Mhm.
started.
How much does it cost for a testing time, um, like session or research sprint, if you will?
Yeah, so that depends on many variables.
Yeah.
Of course, how many users, but of course also how long the sessions are,
Mhm.
how many criteria, and you know how yeah, the criteria
Right.
that you have to sort them out. Usually, we would spend around, I think, 700 pounds per session.
So how many users do you get with that, or how many?
And we get 6 users usually.
6 users? Okay.
Yeah, but again, it depends. Sometimes, like the latest that we did, we had really like we had a lot of criteria, so we spent almost £1,000 for that one, still with 6 users, and it was 75 minutes calls, so that also makes it more expensive. But basically, you can tailor it depending on your needs, and yeah, you can spend as little as, I think, yeah, 600 for 6 users, something like that, in pounds or euros. I don't know about
Mhm.
dollars, but yeah.
Gotcha. And so, um, I guess because like I'm independently contracting and I'm trying to focus, like my focus is trying to be usability testing. I'd love to hear about like I guess like the the test designs and like how like the research, like what exactly you're measuring for. I obviously like you don't have to tell me like specifically what you're measuring for, but like for example like task time, task success, task completion, task like confidence, like those, like I hear and I've been using. If there's anything interesting that you're measuring too, like it'd be cool to hear, as well as like how you report out, like how does that process work? I guess it obviously
Yeah,
you can share, like obviously.
no, yeah, of course, yeah. In terms of measuring, I would say like the things that you mentioned, and I would also say that in a qualitative moderate test with only 5 or 6 users, you don't want to measure too much, I would say, because you don't have the statistical significance to even measure some things.
Mhm.
Um, and the other question, how do I do the reporting? As I said, we have a Miro template for the debrief. So after the tests, we cluster all the notes that we've taken on Miro, with the team that was observing the tests, including the product owner. And after that, we come up with a bunch of, like, the top insights, like the things that we should keep, the things that we should improve, and what we should investigate. And we try to keep that to a minimum of the top insights. And then from there, we create a report in Confluence. We use Confluence as a way to share documents within the whole project. So all our test plans and test reports are in Confluence, so that you have then a repository with all the reports. There are better tools out there, I think, for reporting, but we don't use them just because of this. We are used to Confluence for pretty much everything that we document, and we have a template for the reports in Confluence. So just about filling that out with the information from Miro, and that's it pretty much.
Right. And so in terms of like insights, like how what would you say the process is for determining what is a top insight?
Yeah, being qualitative, it's I guess it's a lot about um, intuition. Like
Uh-huh. Okay.
it doesn't sound very scientific, but like you would hear the same things coming up again and again, and based on your research questions, based on what you are trying to validate, you would already have an idea of what's the most important thing that you need to validate. And then when you see the testing, you will see stuff coming, yeah, as I said, coming up again and again, and then you will basically already see those patterns surfacing, and you'll say, okay, so these are the research questions that we have. These are the things that have been coming up again and again over the testing. So these are the patterns that are emerging, and that means that these are our top insights.
Mm-hmm.
But it's quite it's qualitative, so it's a lot about, you know, you clustering things with the team, discussing and thinking back about the research questions and what answers them.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. It's like in I guess like intuition would be the good right way to put it. I think I'm kind of like that too, with usability testing. Like, I mean, I sometimes try to kind of group and count them. Like this came up twice, this came up four times, and then like I recently took a course that told me that like a Nielsen Norman course that said like you should also, I haven't done this yet, kind of like determine the severity of a usability,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to do that. Like, how would you determine the? I guess I should have paid attention at that part. But like, how do you determine the severity of the
Yeah, but I think again, it's a little bit about your
size tooling?
interpretation
Or no.
of yeah, interpretation of the data, and yeah, depending on how much something is really in the way um, of, imagine like conversion. If something is really a big blocker, then it's pretty severe problem, I would say. But it's, yeah, it's really about interpretation and what you're trying to answer, I would say.
Right, makes sense. Conversion focused. I guess like as a contractor too, I'm finding like, especially for e-com sites, like conversions are the easiest kind of sell. Like,
Yeah, that's always a good one, because with little effort, you can produce quite some value when you fix something in a conversion rate.
hmm yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, Yeah, I think that's everything. Just wanted to, I mean, like even just to meet, just to say hi. That was like
Yeah, yeah, of
80%
course.
of 80%.
Always happy to do that. Sorry that I had to postpone it a couple of times, but
Yeah,
it's been a tough couple of weeks. I had a design sprint and then some other issues here and there. So yeah, but I'm glad that we could have this call.
yeah. Thanks so much for the time. I think
No
I'll let
problem.
you go now. That should be everything. And if you send me your email, I'll send you like a coffee or something. I feel like I owe you some.
Don't worry about that. Come on.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that.
uh,
But I think maybe we are in touch on LinkedIn already, or if we
yeah.
are not,
We should be.
feel free.
Or I
Yeah,
will try. I'll try to see. We
it's
are
always nice to get in touch with designers out there. So
exactly. And I'm sure we'll be in touch again. And I'll, if I have any questions, I'll probably ping you.
yeah, of course, of
Like,
course.
just to recap, like some of the interesting things I found were, I mean, one big note was that not to measure too much because of the low statistical significance, like 6 users. So that's like interesting to keep in mind. Um, like the testing time as a tool costing between 700,000. That's pretty cool, and it seems like they source everything, so that's very cool. Um, and I guess keeping in mind conversions too, because they're easy to sell. It's easy to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like to be like, hey, yeah, I want to do this. It's going to improve conversions. It's like, okay,
I
not many
I
people.
lost you there for a second, but yeah,
Yeah,
now you're back.
yeah. I was just talking about conversions and how that's
Yeah,
a point to sell on. Um, but yeah, so I mean, just to give a very quick conclusion, um, yeah, I'm just contracting. I'm looking to get my usability test numbers up. I want to, like, in 5 years, ideally be like top 5% for like moderated usability testing. Just that one thing, like very narrow
Yeah,
discipline.
nice. Yeah.
Everything else I'm trash at. I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah,
um,
but nice that you have a vision, you have a goal there. So
we'll
and
see
and
how it
use a bit
goes.
like I got that a lot. Like we also now started basically within our company, we are trying to sell usability testing as a standalone service to new or existing clients. So really as a separate service outside of the normal project kind of scope. And I'm hearing that like from other companies that I spoke to that they would need that. They would need someone who just does usability testing, and you just call them in for usability testing, because maybe they don't have researchers on board. Maybe they have a small design team and they don't have the capacity or the skills to do that. So they would really need someone like you to just do that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think there's a market there. Well, I have a very limited, um,
Mhm.
source in terms of data to base this upon, but I think there is a market.
Mhm. Yeah, hopefully it goes well. And an interesting tidbit that could be helpful for your end in the consulting space as well is that, like, I found that out of all the research methods, out of surveys, usability testing, interviews, ethnographics, diary studies, everything, like usability testing is the easiest way into a client, like a new client, is an easy way
Yeah,
to, like, create
yeah, because
immediate quick value, and they
yeah,
understand, they can see,
exactly,
who's going through
exactly.
it, and it's understandable. It's
Totally agree. And
very.
it can be used in many different steps. It can be used during the development of something, but also at the end when something is already out in production, you can evaluate how it is, and then based on the outcome, you can then offer a project to redesign something. So it's really adaptable to, whereas like user interviews only make sense if you are really willing to rethink some service or product, but
uh,
usability testing can be used at any point.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Actually, yeah, interviews most more like generative early stage, and then
Exactly. Yeah,
hopefully
exactly.
anytime. Yeah, but anyway, thanks so much for your time. Like,
No
I'll be sure
problem.
to connect. I'm gonna run to a class right now. I got to do some hit training.
All
Um,
right.
busy Monday morning, and
Yeah.
maybe a good afternoon, and we'll definitely connect for sure. For sure, we'll
Yeah.
definitely connect, and I'll give you
Nice.
updates and tell you what I learned and stuff like that. And
Of course. Yeah.
thank
Nice meeting you and talking with you, and good luck with your vision.
Thanks so much. I'll need the luck. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.